Heat health alerts have come into force for most of England as a spell of warm weather sets in. It came as the Met Office warned of an increasing long-term risk of temperatures soaring over 40 degrees Celsius. The chance of that is now more than 20 times higher than it was in the 1960s and 3 times as likely as at the turn of the century. Well, forecasters say it means over the next 12 years there is a 50-50 chance we could see a day with 40 degrees plus heat, as happened 3 years ago. Ellie Pitt explains.
For those not in a classroom or work, this weather may have been very welcome. The average UK temperature today was 21 degrees. But the National Weather Service predicts we're more and more likely to see summer highs at least double that.
This is plenty hot enough today. 40 degrees is horrendous. You need air conditioning.
40 degrees is quite intense, but as long as you're staying hydrated, sun cream and jumping in the shade, it's not too bad.
Our houses aren't built to take with high temperatures. You know, we all got our cavity wall insulation, our double glazed windows, and we're all into keeping the heat in. And I think when it gets hot, it's very hard to cope with it.
July 2022 was the last time we saw 40 degrees in this country, when London houses were destroyed by wildfires. The Met Office now say the chances of us seeing that temperature again are increasing every year and that heat waves could last months rather than weeks.
Reading 25.
And climate scientists are telling us what we need to get ready for.
Damage to our infrastructure, which isn't used to dealing with the heat. We see people dying, unfortunately, because of the heat, more excess deaths. What we need to do is to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions, which means that these heat waves will not continue to get worse and worse.
At the rate the climate is warming in Rutland, even one of the country's largest reservoirs soon won't be enough to meet water demand. How would Anglian Water cope with 40-degree heat in summer?
So that's why that planning for 2 new reservoirs and pipelines to move water around our region in the most agile way possible to where it's needed most are really, really critical.
And if you weren't doing those plans, what would be the outcome?
Without them, we would run out of water within the next 10 years.
And this is what we're trying to achieve, this like trample.
In Essex, farmer Sam Squire has already changed his soil so that the grass that feeds his cows lasts longer without rain.
We've only had 32 mil of rain since the 1st of April. Almost certainly would have run out of grass, I would have thought, by this stage. If everything was to stop growing today, we've got at least another 70 days of grazing.
It's a 50-50 chance we'll feel 40 degrees in the next decade, but businesses are seeing those odds and preparing now. Ellie Pitt, ITV News, Rutland.
Well, let's get more now from Alex, who is at Kew Gardens tonight. Alex, the full forecast coming up later on, of course, but just how hot could it get this week?
Well, Lucrezia, it does look as though parts of the UK will meet their heat wave threshold. So what is a heat wave? Well, you need 3 consecutive days of a temperature to be hit, or if not higher. And as I say, that does differ depending on where you are. So for the southeast, it is 28 degrees Celsius, and you need that for 3 days or more. We hit that in St James's Park in London earlier today, 29 degrees Celsius in fact. And also for the Midlands, likely to hit their heat wave threshold. For the West Midlands, it's 26, so we need that for 3 days or more. For the East Midlands, it is 27. Well, let's take a look at the air mass chart for the next few days, and you can see the jet stream on there as well. That does veer to the north temporarily, and what normally happens in this kind of scenario is we start to pull in that heat from the near continent. What's different about this time around is that the heat that we're going to be seeing across the UK is homegrown, so it's going to be building day on day, and that's down to the high pressure which has been in control for the last couple of days and will continue to stay in place as we head through as far as the weekend. So what kind of values are we talking about? Well, as I say, today we got to 29 degrees Celsius. It only gets hotter as we head through the next few days. These top temperatures are in the south, so the southeast likely to hit 33 degrees on Saturday. That will be the peak of the heat. But as we head through the next few days, even parts of the north could be close to 30 degrees, say somewhere like Newcastle. We're also heading towards the longest day of the year. So the sun is at its strongest. So do bear in mind that if you're going to be out and about, even for very short periods of time, take a look at those UV levels. They are very high, if not high, across most parts of the British Isles. Stay tuned. I'll be back a bit later with a full look at the forecast, which, as I'm sure you're aware, is looking pretty hot.